Hello and welcome to Recovery for Life. I'm Chris Howard, peer counselor at Midtown Health and Wellness in New York City, and host of this weekly podcast where we discuss addiction and recovery and anything else that comes to mind. Pure, of course, meaning equal, meaning we're all on a level playing field, which means I'm in recovery myself. As of this past January, I've got 10 years clean and sober. I should note that it took me 18 years to get here. Relapse isn't required, but certainly isn't uncommon. It may sound like a reasonable amount of time in recovery, but the truth is today is all that matters. Every single day, we get up and we make a decision to remain sober. Before we get going, it's important to mention that I am not a doctor and we are not here to dispense medical advice. We don't advocate any particular course of treatment. Please speak with your physician regarding issues related to your specific medication or treatment plan. If you don't have a program and would like to discuss options, you can find Midtown Health and Wellness at nyc-doctor.com. This series of podcasts is essentially our group discussions on tape. The four others joining me today are all part of the Suboxone program at Midtown Health. So one of our recurring topics will be everyone's personal feelings about medication-assisted recovery. The focus will not be so much on our past, our addictions, but how we're navigating our individual paths toward physical and emotional health. Putting down the substance is the first step. What happens next is recovery. In recent episodes, we've been introducing ourselves, with each program focusing on one person's journey through addiction into recovery. Tonight, Audrey is going to share with us. But first, I'm going to virtually pass the mic and give everyone a few minutes to check in. And Audrey will go last because you're speaking tonight. So how about Amy, you want to check in first?
Hello, everybody. This is Amy. I'm almost 10 years clean. I've had a pretty good week. Just been hanging out with my little girl, as usual, Lakin. And Audrey and I had a makeup session, so we had a good time Saturday. And I'm just hanging in here waiting to hear back from that job who hired me that's still deciding. So cross your fingers for me, everybody.
Got it. Cool. Thanks. John, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. John, I am back from my honeymoon. I am a newlywed and I am so happy right now. I had one of the best weeks of my life. A lot of great memories made. I'm just so grateful and very happy and emotional. I never thought I'd ever get married, and to be able to sit here sober with the love of my life, my best friend, just knowing I'm going to be with them the rest of my life is just absolutely amazing. And I am so grateful for that. It's just, I can't put it into words. I literally had the best day of my life when I got married. That was the best day of my life. And I'm so glad I was sober for it. I wouldn't change a thing about it. And the honeymoon was absolutely fantastic. I had a great time on the beach with my now wife. To get used to saying that instead of fiance, but it's just so nice to be back and not really looking so much forward to go back to work, but it is nice to be back and married. I'm married. It's crazy. It's hard to believe, but it happened, and I'm very proud of myself and my my wife. See, it's crazy. I gotta get used to it, but. Yeah, I'm so proud of my wife and I for getting through the whole prep process and going through with it and getting it done. And we just had a great time. It really was. And I'm glad to be back. I mean, outside of that, aside from a little sunburn here and there, I'm doing good.
Thanks, and welcome back. Congratulations again. It's very cool. And Benny, hi. How goes it?
Hello. I'm back. Also, I feel like I've been gone. I haven't been on vacation. It was a relapse. But I actually feel fine and actually pretty good. It was a soft core relapse, but I mean, definitely things got a little bit out of hand. I definitely fell out of recovery, fell out of also the book club that I had been doing. And kind of like my whole routine. I just kind of screwed it all up and started whatever, just trying to achieve these highs. However softcore they were. I had like a 2-day relapse on actual opiates, and then just did like kind of like weed and kratom and psilocybin, but it was just like my obsessive brain and kind of having whatever, I don't know, I just had this itch to do it. But yeah, I mean, I kind of had to work on finding really something that I wanted to live for, I think, is what I realized, that I wasn't really feeling very good about myself or my life for whatever reason. So I came out of it with kind of a new plan, and revived focus to get into grad school and to do this recovery stuff, because it's really keeping me healthy and keeping me within community and teaching me how to have rituals, and just how to trust myself more. I've also been praying a lot, and prayer works. It's so weird. It just kind of works when you need it to. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm happy to be back and can't wait to hear you, Audrey.
Thanks for that, Benny. I'm thrilled that you're back and talking about all that. I mean, seriously, that's what this is all about, right? Thank you again for bringing your honesty and why you were absent, and that, things have changed and you have a new perspective. It's amazing. It really is.
So glad you're praying too, Benny. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled that you're back. Anyway, I've been okay too. I'm good. Life is okay. One foot in front of the other as always. And always thrilled to be here with you guys. We're short Frankie tonight because he's vacationing with his wife right now at a beach. And they wanted to stay an extra day, and I certainly wasn't going to argue with that. But he'll be back. He'll be back with us next week too. It's just, it's always great to come to this point of the week when we get together and we make this recording, and it feels so positive to me all the time. Every time we do this, then we come together and we see each other and we talk to each other. It's just like, it elevates my mood, and it changes my whole perspective on my week. And I'm thrilled to be here. So anyway, here we go. So Audrey, you are up tonight, and we're going to let you loose, and you can take as much time as you want, because we have, the rest of the time is yours if you want it. And I'm turning the mic over to you. So for it.
Mic check. 1, 2. But okay. Hi, it's Audrey. My voice can go from very manly or deep, rather, not manly. From deep to, hey, what's up? So be prepared for that roller coaster of voice emotion. Currently, I am, mentally I'm doing okay, but I feel pretty physically bad. I don't really know why, but there's so much going around now. I heard through the grapevine that people are getting sick, and even if it's not COVID, but that's besides the point. I feel pretty good about myself overall, just because I've been actually started to paint again a little bit, and even if it's not a finished product, I'm proud of myself for even trying. And I've been applying to jobs, and whenever I feel more productive is when I feel better about myself. But I should probably learn how to do other things that are productive for my physical health. That's where I'm at right now. Working out, I fell out of working out. Need to get back into that. But yeah, so I'll start with my little story here. I wrote bullet points, but I don't think I'm going to look at them because I just won't see the paper. It'll just fade into a bunch of jumbles. So, I guess before I started using
I mean, I started using when I was like 19. I would say like 19. It started from smoking weed and then moved on pretty quickly from weed to smoking my first blunt with Oxycontin in it. But before that, I guess as a kid, I was always really like timid and had a lot of social issues. I remember one time in elementary school, I was so afraid to ask the teacher to use the bathroom in gym class that I just peed my pants. Like I was, and I was wearing pleather pants. It's the best story, but like who wants to pee in pleather pants and then walk around squeaking all day? No, nobody. But, yeah, so I was just really afraid to talk to people, and I had a few friends, but they were like really, really close friends, and I never really branched out from that until middle school when I kind of like, I guess a parent would say, "Oh, she blossomed." Like I kind of went outside of my comfort zone, wore a bunch of crazy stuff like purple tights and really short American Apparel shorts that I got in trouble for wearing. Wrote like a letter to the to the principal saying how we shouldn't get in trouble for wearing short shorts because it's our right to show our legs. So that's the kind of stuff I would do. I was kind of out there and really into. I was like the artsy kid. There were about 80 kids per grade, so I was like known as, if anyone wanted a picture drawn, it was from me. But that's also the time when I started experiencing some really low points. Like I had all these crazy thoughts, and I've had them not crazy, but I thought they were crazy at the time. And I convinced myself I was crazy because I was having so many intrusive thoughts. And I've had these for my whole life, but in middle school, they got really bad because I started disassociating along with it. And I thought that I was schizophrenic. I would stay up all night Googling schizophrenia symptoms, and I would be like, okay, this is me. Like I'm hallucinating, even though I wasn't actually hallucinating. I would just tell myself that I was like seeing things in the shadows. Like I would picture things, but I would never actually hallucinate. And I was always like afraid to go to bed. I would think about like the one scary movie that I saw about someone coming to murder me all the time. And I remember during the day, I started feeling the same, like just, it was dissociating because I felt like my brain was like outside of my body and like I wasn't in this world. And I was so sweaty and anxious to talk to anyone. Like I was so afraid of being perceived. And I started going to a psychiatrist, and that's when they diagnosed me with OCD, which a lot of people think is when you're really clean and orderly, but I am the messiest person with OCD ever, I think. So just a little bit more information about OCD. It's more has to do with the intrusive thoughts, and compulsions can be like going to check. Like, for example, a basic intrusive thought that I had was that someone was hiding in my closet. So I would have to keep all my lights on and check in the closet under the bed for anyone, because I thought someone was going to come and kill me, or like someone was in there. But anyway, this branched into like the social aspect of my life, and life just became really overwhelming. I would have thoughts about like, and I guess this is kind of a normal thought when you're a child, like having the first thought about death, like what happens when you die. And then it would just freak me out so much that I would not be able to sleep. And yeah, so I went on some meds for that, and they helped a lot. But I was still dealing with like this overall feeling of depression, like I wasn't really good enough. And I remember being really sad about my high school boyfriend breaking up with me. So I got into this deep, dark depression where I would cry in school. And that's like around when I started smoking weed. I started hanging out with people from high school, and we would just smoke after school pretty much every other day. Then it was like every day. And a little bit after high school, well, let's go back to high school. I started partying a lot, and I never liked drinking. I think I got drunk once and I enjoyed it. Like, I only drank one time where I actually enjoyed getting drunk and drinking. So I would keep going to high school parties. And after that, every summer I would come back and go to parties. And a friend of a friend had oxys. They were selling them. So I was just around it a lot. They were always like at these parties. And I remember trying it for the first time in a blunt, smoking it. I didn't really know what it was. Someone was just like, okay, we put oxy in this blunt, you're gonna get really high. And I was like, okay, cool, I want to try it. And I smoked it, and I was like, holy shit, this is the best feeling ever. Like, I need to chase this feeling. And I'm just thinking about like having to chase the feeling. I feel like that's the through my life and a lot of addicts' lives. But so I would do drugs recreationally at parties because I never wanted to drink, and oxy made me feel good, more sociable. It made me awake. Have always been really tired throughout my life, and later on I found out that I had narcolepsy. But yeah, I pretty much just wanted to sleep all the time. I remember one time I slept for like 24 hours straight. Didn't find out until like 3 or 4 years ago that I had narcolepsy. But yeah, oxy made me feel awake. It made me feel like I was on cloud nine all the time. So I would just do it during parties, and sometimes I would hang out with people just to do it. Just to like have a night where we did it, and it was like a special thing. But then I went away to school. I stopped doing it for a little bit. I started drinking going clubbing. Sometimes I would find oxy here and there, and I would do it a little bit, but I never really started doing it a lot until I started dating someone while I was in college. They were from my hometown, and they had been a heroin addict. But they were clean at the point when we started dating. So we started doing, I was like still quote unquote recreationally doing oxy. It wasn't to the point yet where I was having withdrawals without it, but I started dating this kid, and I was like, hey, why don't you just do oxy with us? So I started getting him to do the oxy. And then it turned into every time me and my boyfriend at the time hung out, we would just do oxy together. And that kept going for a few years until it was like we were doing oxy every day. I was skipping class. I was in college at this point. So we would like go to hotels and just do oxy all night, and like go to places where like I wouldn't feel safe now going to get drugs. And I just thinking about it now, I feel like a lot could have happened to me in those places that I went to get drugs by myself. And I'm so thankful that they didn't. I'm really thankful thinking about it. But yeah, so we would just do drugs every day, and got to the point where he bought like thousands of pills, and we found out that they were all fake. So that's when I started getting sick. All of these pills that he had spent a few $1,000s on were all fake, and we didn't have anything, couldn't find anything at the time. So started getting sick, and then I would try to find it. Not a lot of people had it. So I was just like really depressed, really sickly. And I remember one night I smoked some weed with my ex-boyfriend, and I smoked a lot of weed actually. And I just like had this realization that my life was kind of going in a direction that I didn't want it to go in, because before this, during high school, like before I started using, I had all these dreams to be in fashion and do a bunch of internships and try really hard in school. And at this point, I failed a few classes, had to take a year off, went back to school. But yeah, I just feel like my life wasn't going where I wanted it to go. And also, I didn't want to feel this way. Like, I didn't want to have to rely on a drug. And also, I looked at him, and he was not a functioning person. He didn't want to talk or eat, or I don't know. It's just, I just realized how much this drug was taking away from my life. It was making me even more depressed and anxious. And me and my ex were having really bad fights all the time. It was just not a healthy thing. So I guess this one night when I smoked, I was like, I need to stop doing this. Thankfully, I had that realization. I don't really know where it came from. Maybe it was the weed. You know, sometimes weed makes you have these really deep thoughts, like, holy shit, those kind of thoughts. What is happening? Like, I don't know. But yeah, so in that moment, I deleted all of my drug dealer contacts, which, you know, weren't really, I don't know, I wasn't able to get anything. So at this time, there was no point in having them anyway. But I deleted all their contacts. I was like, I need to stop. I told my sister, who was in California, that I was having this issue with drugs, and she ended up, I think I said she flew over in a past meeting, but she drove from California to come and help me. And we had this conversation once. When she came back, she was like, you need to tell Mom and Dad, because the only thing they're going to do is help. So I remember sitting in my mom's room crying and working up the courage to tell her that I have a drug problem. And she was like, eventually I told her, and she said something along the lines of, I knew something was wrong. Like, I just didn't know what you were doing. She had tried to drug test me, and I, like a year back, or even a few months before I told her I had a problem, she had tried to drug test me. And I say tried because, like, I did the drug test, but I filled the cup with water, like halfway with water, and nothing came up. And somehow they didn't catch that in the drug test, and it came up clean. But yeah, I remember kicking and screaming because I didn't want to do that drug test. But anyway, so I told her, and she was like, okay, well, what do you need? What do you think is going to help? So I told her that I heard about something called Suboxone, and maybe we can try and find a doctor that prescribes that. And I had heard about it because I had used it in the past. One of the drug dealers that I was buying from had Suboxone, and they were like, here, I have this thing. And I read up about it, and I was like, oh, this is supposed to help you, like, get off of drugs. And yeah, so I wanted to find a doctor that could actually help me know how to use it, because if I'm getting this from a dealer, like, I'm not going to know how to use it. I'm just going to take it like I would take anything else. And so yeah, I let's see, where was I? Now I'm regretting not looking at the bullet points, but so I found a doctor that prescribes Suboxone, and this was like, I have a hard time remembering when things happened in this timeline. So this was like over 3 years ago I found this doctor. And it was okay. I mean, I would not really have, like, he would just prescribe me the Suboxone without any other information, no like mental health. How to like, he told me how to take it, but other than that, like, there was no other support along with just getting the Suboxone. So I ended up not even, and I'm not blaming this on the facility or whatever that was prescribing it, but I ended up taking the Suboxone not as I was supposed to. I took more than I was supposed to, like a few days out of the month. So I would end up not having it for like 2 days. I would go through withdrawals. And I think the reason why I took it was because A, it got me high, and B, it, like, I didn't really have a system in place that would help me through this Suboxone process. Like, that would hold me accountable for this even. And the only thing it really ever did was make me feel like tired, kind of. So like tired and a little bit like fuzzy. I don't know how to describe it, but like calmer, I guess. So I went to this doctor for a little bit, and at one of the times where I didn't have my Suboxone because I took like 2 days more than I was supposed to, I found Midtown Health and Wellness because I was going back to school in the city. I just found them because I Googled it. I Googled like Suboxone clinics, and I called Midtown Health and Wellness, and I remember being on the phone in my dorm, like, I need to get off of this. Like, I need to get off of Suboxone. Can you help me? Because this is the point where I was like not taking it correctly, and I felt really guilty about it. And she was like, yeah, sure, we can help. Do you want to see us tomorrow? And I was like, okay, cool. So I met with Dr. Saltzman, and we found a really low dosage because I had been on a low dosage before when I was at this other doctor. Found a really low dosage to go at. And then it wasn't really until like a year later that I started actually going to groups and going to therapy and participating in the therapy, because I actually did go to therapy with Midtown Health and Wellness, but I was never really honest, and I never really wanted to try because I just kind of put it off like, oh, this is another therapist. At this point, I had already seen a lot of therapists and psychiatrists, and I didn't really want to put any more effort in, but I was still not really happy, not really feeling like I was fully recovered. And I guess I still don't really feel like I'm fully recovered because I deal with some depression still and anxiety still, but I am way of a hell lot, is that the term? A way of a hell lot better than I was when I wasn't putting any effort into recovery, like going to groups, talking with Chris, talking with therapists, being honest. And Chris always says when you're honest, you don't have to be like 100% honest about everything to everyone, but you have to be honest to the point where you're, if you have an issue, you need to talk about this issue. And I think that's where I was lacking. Like, I wanted to pretend like everything was okay in some of the sessions, and I was people would ask me how I was doing, and I was like, good, how are you? Like, and didn't elaborate on mental health issues that I was dealing with. Like, now I try to make sure that I say whatever is on my mind, even if it sounds quote unquote crazy. But yeah, I think now I am feeling good about my trajectory, like how I'm gonna be doing in a year from now, in 2 years from now, in a day from now, in a month from now. I have hope about the future. There are times like today when I got really angry thinking about, like, don't get me wrong, I still deal with a lot of negative emotions now and thought patterns, but at least now I can cope with them and not shove them away with drugs. I can talk about them, and I have more hope for the future. Like, I was going to say today, I got kind of angry about where I am in my life, but that's like, it's important to have these meetings because now I'm realizing again that where I am in my life right now is so much farther than it's so much better than I was even like a few years ago, especially when I was using. So yeah, I think that's getting towards the end of my little story time. Yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
Thank
Good.
you for that. That was amazing. Really, it was great to. I made a lot of notes while you were talking, but I might let we can go around and people can kind of relate a little bit. And because I did take a bunch of notes, some things you said that I thought were really, really valuable and important. And it's a great, you told a great tale of how this thing escalates when you start just, as you said, recreationally using it, which I think is a hilarious term to begin with, because for people who are, have addictive personalities, there's no such thing as recreational use. It always turns into something else, which it did for you. And it took some time. It didn't happen overnight, but it escalated to the point where it was unmanageable. And that's, I don't know. I mean, that's just the way it works. None of us sets out to become an addict, right? We just start using something. Hey, this is fun. This is great. And then, a couple of years later, you're buying Suboxone on the street because you don't know what else to do. And that's how all of this works. And that's why we're all here talking about it. I'm gonna come back later, but I want to go around too. So maybe, hey Benny, you want to chime in first?
Yeah. You know what? I wrote literally everything down because I thought that was such a great story. That was just so honest, and I related to it a lot. I liked that you have such a mental health perspective on recovery, that you started very young, and you started by kind of talking about how you kind of thought of yourself at school, because that is really important. Just like who we identify as, that you identify as an artist is obviously really important to you and has been for a really long time. And that you were struggling with these intrusive thoughts and from a very early age kind of fighting a war with yourself that no one else necessarily saw. Which typically makes really great artists, I think. It's like, this is what, I don't know, we have these kind of internal struggles that, I don't know, I guess can make a certain kind of imaginative escapism, very available to us. But I mean, you can also then do like material escapism, which is kind of the most obvious thing. And yeah, I just really related, even with like, the timeline, I feel like I started a little bit earlier, but it very also quickly went from like starting to fool around with weed in high school. Weed was around a little bit earlier, but like in high school, I kind of was like, I just started, I don't know, opioids were everywhere. Like in 2010, they were just like in everyone's house, everyone's mom's pantry. And like, if I went out to a party, I knew I was about to rob some pantries for sure. And there were going to be people, like respectable preppy kids, who would like root for me, you know? I don't know. But yeah, I never smoked an oxy blunt. So fuck me. But sorry. Yeah, but how you described that first feeling also really resonated. And I don't know, it's really hard what we're doing, not chasing a feeling that absolves you of all of your problems. You know, everything that's ever been like an obstacle in your narrative. Like, just like, why am I so weird? Why can't I talk to people? Or like, why am I tired all the time? You know, like I related to you on that too, because I've been feeling really tired in recovery. And I haven't been sure if it's Suboxone or if it's just like existential lethargy that I have to, because I notice I have more energy if I'm like, yeah, for me, like, I don't know if it's a medical problem. I think it might just be like purpose, you know? But I don't know. I mean, you always like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but I guess a couple other things, like I was just thinking about how, I mean, I guess this is obvious, but like when you're so invested in that pleasure and that like dopamine reward, it's just like, there's no reason to like notice what's going on around you. You know, it's just like total tunnel vision. And like in a certain way, it's really working. You know, like you feel like you're alive because you're able to control this reward system. And, but like, just, yeah, you started going through withdrawal and then you had this like cannabis experience, which I also relate to that. Like, I feel like cannabis really can teach you things. But it can also easily be like abused by people like us and not treated with respect and stuff. But yeah, and just, you just notice like, man, I'm just failing classes. Like I haven't been able to stay in school. Like my boyfriend looks like shit. Like, you know, and like, so yeah, I guess that just puts things in perspective for me too, because like things can feel really overwhelming a lot of the time in recovery, but it's because you're actually looking at things for what they are, you know? And it's like, you have the opportunity to just like keep doing problem solving. And like you said, like keep learning to cope. And it's kind of all you can hope to do. You know, you just have to adjust. Yeah, so I guess I'll just stop it there and just say that like, I don't know. I always relate so much to your story and appreciate like your wisdom, and like, it's like an experience, strength, and hope thing, like with mental health, just as much as drug use. I really relate to you on anxiety, intrusive thoughts, everything. And I really look up to you, how you've learned to cope and manage. And I think you're doing really,
Thank
really
you.
well. Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Benny. Hey, Amy, you want to
Sure.
say a few things?
Sure. I just want to say I'm very proud of you for seeing it for what it was, you know, for realizing at such a, you know, early age that you were an addict. I'm very proud of you and for what you're trying to do and are doing. Very
Thank
proud
you.
of you. But you
Thank
know,
you.
we all, like addicts, we don't want to deal with it. We want to find that first feeling we got. You know, we're chasing that, and it's a constant, and it's like a job almost, you know? And then you come to that realization and it's like, oh shit, you know, now
Yeah,
what am I
yeah.
going to do? You know?
Yeah, we talked about how like the first time you get high, it's the most amazing feeling, but then every other time you get high, you're trying to chase that and it's never enough. So it's not even a good time being high. Like
Exactly.
you think it is, but it's not. It's all synthetic, and you're like, in this weird, like, chase, like, it's everything is extreme. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's not fun.
No,
It's not fun.
it's not. And the,
Yeah.
you know, and then the money that goes into it, Lord, if I had all that money back, you know,
Yeah.
what we could do, you know,
My God.
but
Yeah.
I'm just very proud of you. I want
Thank
you to
you.
know.
Thank you.
And I deal with a lot of mental health issues, so I can really relate.
Yeah, I do think that, you know, we all chase that first high, and you can never get it back. You just can't ever find it again. And, you know, some of us spend years and years chasing it until, like you said, it's not fun. It's not pleasant. It's a miserable existence trying to find that. It never manifests itself. We never get that back ever. Yeah, go ahead, John. You're up.
Audrey, thank you so much for your story. Like Amy said, I'm extremely proud of you. And, you know, to be doing this at an early age, I wish I had that opportunity. And I just admire that you're able to do that. And there was a lot of things in your story that I did relate to. You know, it's funny, you said the first time you had used was in a blunt. I had smoked promethazine with codeine and blunts and stuff like that, but I've never, maybe I have, I don't remember. But anyway, the point is like that high that you said you were on cloud nine. That was the same experience I had when I was 17, 18 years old, when I took my first opiate. And that feeling of just chasing the dragon, right? You know, constantly you're looking for that same feeling that you had the first time over and over again. It's a full-time job, you know, and especially when you're getting sick and not knowing what to do with your life, it's just falling apart. For you to be able to pull it together and show up for yourself and take care of yourself, put yourself first, and do what you needed to do, like the research you were doing, you know, like what's the sketchy Suboxone that my dealer's trying to give me, doing research into that. That's so, I don't know, you had a lot of forethought, and that is very, very admirable and awesome. I mean, you're so smart, and I like Benny, I do look up to you too, and you're a very special person, and I'm very glad I got to hear your story and your share. It makes me grateful to be here. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful nothing happened to you during while you're out looking for drugs, because it's never a good place to be. And you're here. I mean, look at where you are now. I mean, seriously, look at how much progress you made, and you have your whole life ahead of you. And it's just going to be a great journey. I know it. So hopefully I get to be here for the ride and just enjoy it with you. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, you guys are so nice. I love this. Give me more compliments. Thank you. No, really. Thank you, everyone.
You thought you were too sick to share. See, it did make me feel better. Yeah.
It did. Yeah. I'm still sore all over for I don't know why, but
Well, there are definitely other illnesses besides COVID running around.
Yeah, crazy.
You know, now that we're back in the mix and, you know, breathing on each other again, there's all those things we used to get, like the regular flu and other stuff. But, you know what I was thinking at the end, I wrote down a bunch of stuff, but the thing that really struck me at the end of your story was your outlook now on life, and that it's all positive. Everything is positive. You're seeing good things coming down the pipe rather than, seeing the dark side of everything. And this comes up so often, almost every day, that there's this switch that happens when we stay in recovery for a little while. And there's this moment when that changes. It changes from thinking that everything coming your way is going to be terrible to suddenly having a positive outlook. And that comes from everything that you've been doing, the work that you have been doing personally on yourself through, and I'm glad you mentioned that there are people who will prescribe Suboxone and say, have a nice day. You don't need anything else. And that's just so not true in any kind of recovery. I mean, you need other things. That's why fellowships like AA and NA and all these other ones have been around for 90 years or whatever it is, because people need each other. We need to help each other. But, somebody else the other day described it where he wanted to talk about it more as a dimmer, because, a switch just turning on and off seems pretty dramatic, right? So it's more like I was saying, okay, well, it's a dimmer. So instead of being on the 1 to 5 setting, you're on the 5 to 10 setting, because you're now seeing things from a different perspective. And we took it just one step further and said, what if we break it down to 1 to 100? So it's so less dramatic. It's very incremental where this dimmer switch starts to turn and we start to see things differently than we did before. And that's because we're in recovery and we're not chasing a high. Instead, we're chasing life. We're chasing possibilities. We're chasing what might be next. And it's a beautiful place to be. And that's that dimmer switch that starts to move. And you're in it. You described it perfectly. Because that's the place where you are. You're looking at things from a very, very, very different perspective than when we met. Let's say, when you just weren't sure. I mean, there didn't seem to be a lot of hope. It was just kind of putting one foot in front of the other and saying, okay, I have to do this. I don't know what's going to happen. But things have changed dramatically, and has nothing to do with external things, right? It has everything to do with how you feel about you and all of the work that you've done in recovery. And I think Benny's right. The mental illness part is huge part of all of this, right? I mean, you had some real diagnosed illnesses, and some kids are misdiagnosed and people don't even know what's going on. The narcolepsy came up much later. Like who could say what's going on? You're sleeping all the time. Nobody knows what's going on, right? And these are real issues. And that's part of recovery too, is addressing all of that. I mean, and you're addressing everything, right? And you're doing it in a methodical and mature fashion. You're talking about it, and you're, like you said, you're absolutely honest about all of this. And I totally get the dishonesty in therapy. And, I don't know if I tell them this, then they'll think I'm okay, or, somebody says how you're doing and we say, oh, I'm fine. Right. That's the answer, right? I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine. Right. When inside we're like, I'm a friggin' mess. I'm a total mess, but I don't want to tell anybody, because then I'm going to have to talk about it. I don't really want to talk about it. I'd rather just say I'm fine. It's easier. And let me get out of here, to talk about it. And you're so right about all of that. And it just really hit home for me too, because when I first started in therapy a long time ago, I was totally full of shit. I was saying everything I thought the therapist wanted to hear. And, of course she saw right through me, but it, it was my charade. And it didn't work. I could tell you that. Hey, John, you get your hand up.
Yeah, I do. I just wanted to mention one thing about, going to therapy and saying you're fine, right? I found that when I'm feeling not fine, I write it down in a 1-line note or a couple sentence note. So when I go to therapy, I remember, because I'm not always going to feel like, that depressed or that feeling, right? So I just write it down. So I remember to bring it up in my therapy sessions, as I felt in that moment, and I can discuss it then, and that seems to have been helping. And I got that tip a couple months ago. And it's been super helpful, but I just wanted to bring that up, in case that is helpful for anybody else. I thought it was. And, I also wanted to mention one other thing that I related to, in your story. And I think you're very courageous for this, because when I was your age, when you were telling your mom at the age of, 18, right? Or somewhere in there.
Yeah, it was probably at this point, I was 22. I don't know. That's a roundabout age.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I had the courage to do that when I was younger. And I just think that is absolutely so courageous. And I'm so happy you did that. That's awesome. I just wanted to say that. But anyway, I love my hand now.
Well, thanks, John, for bringing up the writing thing. I do that too. I write things down, and look at them sometimes a week later before I'm discussing it with anybody, just to get a personal different perspective on it. I encourage everybody to write things down when I talk to them because, we see ourselves differently. We can think something and it's very fleeting, right? That's why we write it down, right? Because I'm thinking, oh, I think this, and then it's gone, right? So if we make a little note to remind ourselves, and me, I write a lot. I mean, I write tons of stuff, and I get to go back weeks, months later and take a look at what I was feeling that day. And do I still feel that way, or have things changed, or do I still need to talk about this, or, maybe things are different now. And I think it's a great idea to jot these notes down just as reminders. And like I say, sometimes you write it down and maybe a week later you have a look again. Say, I'm not really feeling that way anymore. I think maybe I got through that little moment. Or you remember it, and then the next time it comes up, it's a reminder of like, oh yeah, I remember that. I don't need to deal with that again, or I know how to get through. That really works. I think it's great. It's a great idea. And thanks for bringing it up. I really appreciate that. So yeah, that was beautiful, Audrey. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you decided that you were well enough, or you pushed through, your illness and shared with us, because it was really it was a great story, and it's a great tale of how all of this works. Getting into the addiction and getting out of it, getting into recovery. I think you froze in your screen too, so if you're talking, we're not hearing you. But I think that we're actually, it's hard to believe that we've got close to the end of this today. So I think it's probably gratitude time already. And who wants to go first? Benny, you spoke first, so how about you go first?
Sure. Yeah. I just realized my mic has been unplugged this whole time. Can you guys hear?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm really, really grateful to have heard Audrey's story today. And yeah, I mean, she just always gives me like a lot of hope, and it's like down to earth, really honest energy, which I can always use more of. And I'm grateful that I've been having like a revival in like my relationship with God recently, and just like a willingness to like do prayer and stuff. It's just really helping me trust myself and like life more, and like trust the process more. And I'm just grateful to be here today. So thank you all. It's so good to see you.
Thanks, Benny. Audrey lost power. Apparently she's coming back on her phone. They had a power outage.
Oh shit.
Amy, you want to go next? Gratitude?
Sure. I'm grateful for Audrey and her story. I'm so glad that she was able to tell us the story and we got to speak on it, because you learn a lot hearing other people's stories, because you're like, oh yeah, I was there. But I'm grateful for each and every one of you, John, Benny, Chris, all of you. You give me something to look forward to. So I just appreciate you.
Thanks, Amy. I'm glad Audrey got to tell her story before the power went in. John?
Yeah, I'm super grateful for Audrey's story today. I always learn something new, and I get to see something from a different perspective when I hear other people's stories. It's just so, it's just a blessing to be able to hear it and partake in it, and, so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for Benny, for Benny being here, and, rejoining us on this journey of recovery. It's not easy, but I'm glad he's back, and just, it's just so awesome that he was able to rebound so quickly. I just think that's amazing. And I'm grateful that I got married. I'm like just elated, and I don't know, like it's just surreal. I'm just grateful for that. I'm grateful for my wife. And another day alive and sober. And for this podcast, and for you, Chris, and everybody in it.
Thanks, John. Hey, Audrey, are you with us on your phone? Let's see if she's.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You want to do a little gratitude over the
little glitchy. Yeah, I'm so grateful for everyone for listening and for providing really good feedback. John and I will use that note-taking technique. But yeah, thank you everyone for the support always. And yeah, it's just great. It's great to be here. I do feel better mentally. So thank you all.
It really works. Yeah, I'm very grateful to all of you for being here, and Audrey for your honesty and your story, and bringing in other issues that we don't often get to talk about, and being part of this incredible group that meets every week and talks about the hard stuff, and making it public, which is pretty impressive. It really is. I think it's a unique thing that we do. It really is, and it's great that we can do this. Amy's got her hand up. Do you want to say one more thing before I close this out?
I just wanted to tell Benny to stay on your spiritual journey, because you'll learn a lot about yourself.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Okay, so next week it's either me or Benny. We're all that's left. So we'll toss a coin, I guess. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, thanks again, Audrey, for braving your illness and jumping in and telling us your story. It was really I'm so grateful to you for doing that. And thank everybody, for your insights, your reflections, and relating to all of this and being here. And thanks again to our listeners for joining us, which we do have now, because we've been online for a while now, and people are actually listening to this and liking and whatever. I don't know what else was going on out there. I'm not really keeping that close tabs on the sites, but we're out there. So if anyone has any thoughts and you'd like to share about anything you heard today, please send us a note through one of the various channels. I think we're on YouTube, Spotify, and Amazon Music, and a couple of other places. So wherever you're listening, send us a note. And thanks again to all of you. You're the best. You guys are all amazing. And Frankie will be back with us next week. And everybody have a fantastic week. All right. See you very soon.